Hey, good afternoon. Today I have Law 5 of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, and I'll go over it for you. It's just a book summary review. I know everyone has really busy lives, so I want to make sure you get a decent grasp of this Law of Power. Law 5. So much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. And a quick judgment behind it. Reputation is the cornerstone of power with which you can use to become intimidating for the win. When you poke holes in your opponent's reputation, the public will have less confidence in your opponent, which could further lead to your win and enhance your reputation, while decreasing theirs. Here's an observance of the law. We're going to go back to ancient China. Zhuge Liang led the Shu Kingdom's forces. Now in this story, he was resting in a small town when his sentinels alerted him of a 150,000 troop march approaching under Sima Yi. Zhuge stood with a mere 100 troops. No contest. He ordered his troops to hide. He had to get smart. He had to think. So he ordered his troops to hide as he stood in the most visible part of town in a Taoist robe. And this goes into how powerful reputation can be. It was a single man standing in the middle of a town in a Taoist robe, and he witnessed the army approach. 150,000 men approached. And what did he do? He was strumming his lute and chanting. Sima Yi led in front of his army, and they witnessed Zhuge Liang strumming his lute and chanting in a Taoist robe alone. This led to a speedy retreat of Sima Yi's army. Now let's take a look at this instance. How could one man scare an army of 150,000? Zhuge Liang was more commonly known as the Sleeping Dragon. One time he ordered an enemy lieutenant to a beheading. At last minute, he spared the enemy lieutenant's life on a promise of service to Zhuge as a double agent. His new spy helped him win battle after battle, as the spy owed Zhuge Liang his life. Another instance, Zhuge stole a military seal and ordered false instruction to enemy troops. This is how he captured 3 cities. He sent enemy troops to distant locations using that false military seal. The Sleeping Dragon was a master of clever operations, which struck fear into his enemies. Sima Yi was experienced in war. This is the man that had 150,000 troops versus Zhuge Liang's 100. Sima Yi was experienced in war with Zhuge Liang. They had a dozen battles before this one. Zhuge's reputation struck fear into Sima Yi and his army. As Zhuge strummed away at his lute with his chanting, it was a taunt. Zhuge Liang's reputation allowed a 101-man army to triumph a 150,001 person army, all because of reputation. If Sima's army proceeded, they would have won. But they were scared because you don't know what the Sleeping Dragon's going to do. That was a simple observance. We'll go into another example, a little more American example. Go back to 1841. P.T. Barnum, you might remember P.T. Barnum and Bailey's Circus, one of the most famous spectacles in the history of marketing. P.T. Barnum, at one point, he did not hold a reputation as a premier showman of America. He was broke at one point, and he tried buying the American Museum in Manhattan on guarantees of returns and references. The principal partners in the sale withdrew the deal at a last minute and gave it to the directors of Peale's Museum, as they had a reputation in which Barnum did not. This naturally infuriated Barnum, so he worked towards destroying Peale's reputation. He employed a letter writing campaign and smeared Peel as a broken down bank director. This pummeled their stocks. The museum deal was reversed. It took years for Peel to recover. Peel attempted revenge, but that didn't work. Revenge did not work. Barnum went on to establish a reputation for audacity and as the leading showman in America. This preceded him for many years. Now, in observance, we'll look into this whole instance. Barnum had two tactics that ruined Peel. First, Barnum casted Peel as a broken down bank director in a mail letter campaign. Rumors can be insidious, especially when they sow doubt. Once Barnum's reputation was established, his second tactic was employed. He ridiculed his rival's reputation. This was done using fun parodies to engage his audience rather than scientific lore. The second tactic in this equation put the enemy on the defensive while reaping attention to further enhance Barnum's reputation. Humor can non-seemingly poke holes in your opponent's reputation, so it's important to use that to your advantage. So there are some observances of this law of power, reputation, guarding it with your life, just like Barnum did, just like Chuko Lang did. Chuko Lang literally guarded it with his life in front of 150,000 people. He stood on his reputation. A couple keys to power we want to look at. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. First key to power, know that everyone has mysterious and unfathomable characteristics that will never be revealed. It's easy to ignore this fact and judge people based on appearances, clothes, gestures, words, actions. This makes consistency key as people fear change. You must make and maintain your reputation. This can double your strength and protect against appearances. You might look bad some days. You don't want that to hurt you. Number 3, one outstanding quality can set you apart. It takes one quality for you to cultivate. People will speak of your quality, and that increases your presence and exaggerates your strengths. Here's another key. Your past triumphs aid your future successes. 5, make your reputation simple. Don't overcomplicate your reputation. 6 key, if your reputation is stained, get a friend with an image that counteracts your reputation. 7th key, carefully collect and hoard your reputation. Also, when you have less power than someone, then an attack on their reputation, just like what Barnum did when he attacked Peel's reputation, can work in your favor. Just don't go overboard with it. It can be a potent weapon, attacking someone's reputation. Build and protect your reputation. If it's stained, make a close friend or activity to outweigh the stain. If people view you as cruel and unusual, then starting an efficient charity can weaken their views of your supposed cruelty. Little reversal, really simple, there isn't one. There is nothing to be gained by neglecting your reputation. By not caring how you are perceived, then others will decide for you. And it's pretty straightforward. It's law 5. So much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. Build your reputation. Maintain it. Guard it. Keep it safe. Don't neglect it. And, if it comes down to it, sometimes you have to poke holes in your opponent's reputation by either using parodies or smears, but just don't go overboard with it because people will see through that.